and I want to let you know you deserve a space to rest and reflect. You are not too much, you are deeply needed, and Black neurodivergent joy is revolutionary. Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of Mindful Mondays with Maria. I'm Maria Davis-Pierre, licensed mental health counselor, founder of Autism in Black, and parent to 3 neurodivergent children, and I'm neurodivergent myself. I created this show because I saw a need, especially in our community, for a space to reflect, to recharge, and get real about what it means to be Black, autistic, and most importantly, thriving. So for the purpose of this Monday show, it's going to be a weekly space rooted in community, healing, and education, without shame and without judgment. So whether you are a parent, a professional, an advocate, an ally, or an autistic individual, you're welcome here. So every Monday, what you can expect from the show is brief but deep weekly episodes, topics covering race, autism, mental health, and advocacy, interviews, affirmations, commentary on current events, all leading to real-world tools and reflections to take with you. So for today's show, we're going to touch on some hot topic highlights because I know I've been hearing about them. I know you have too. So let's talk about it, right? I have been hearing a lot about rising diagnosis rates. Okay, so let's start with the numbers. According to the latest CDC data, autism now affects 1 in 31 8-year-olds, right? Going from 1 to 36 to 1 in 31. So there is a lot of talk on it's an epidemic going on. Everybody's autistic. What's going on? They're just giving out this diagnosis. No, that's not what's happening. One, it's extremely hard to get an autism diagnosis. There is a lot of evaluation, if done correctly, in the process of getting this diagnosis. And when it comes to Black children, they're not handing out diagnoses to us, okay? They're just not. Not this diagnosis, at least. Behavior ones, yes, which we'll talk about on another Monday with Maria. But this jump really reflects professionals' growing ability to properly identify and support autistic kids earlier, right? Because that is the point, especially in the communities previously overlooked, our community, right? So what I attribute this to is the fact that professionals are listening, professionals are getting trained, professionals are doing it right, and now there's a catch-up happening of giving the appropriate diagnosis to individuals. And then for the first time, diagnostic prevalence is higher among the Black community. And this is suggesting improvements in equity as well. For far too long, we have been misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed, and now, the professionals are listening. So our community is getting the appropriate diagnosis. I am a little fearful of what these numbers will look like in the coming years because of what's currently happening politically, right? With the narrative that is going on, and I know you've all have heard it. I've done some slight commentary in the past on it, but the political narrative is shifting, right? And not always in ways based in data, in facts, right? RFK has called this rise an autism epidemic. His words are just ignorant, right? He's a clown. All of the nonsense he has spewed in regards to this has done nothing but, cause fear. He has attributed this increase to environmental toxins. He's rejected mainstream data attributing to improved diagnostics. The man that is president has echoed these claims. He's calling the spike a tremendous horror show. Y'all know he like to use that word tremendous or big. And he's implying that it's vaccine related or other external causes. And again, this is harmful because time and time again, the research has shown that correlation and causation are two different things. There is nothing in the data that backs vaccines are the cause of autism. It has been refuted time and time and time and time again. The actual physician who started this bogus claim has had his license taken from him. There has been research that had to come out and state he was making bogus claims. All of this has been refuted time and time again. Okay? Usually what we are seeing is the correlation of time frame of when children get certain vaccines, and that's also a big developmental jump. So we're seeing that, that's when we're not noticing those developmental jumps, and that's when we're like, okay, this could be the diagnosis that's happening. Not because vaccines are causing it, because there is a correlation of the time you get those vaccines and the time that most parents who are not in healthcare professional fields see those developmental shifts. So that is what usually we're seeing when it comes to noticing when a child could be having a developmental delay, right? And I say all that to say, here's where the politics matter, because these characterizations that are being spewed is truly a distraction from the system-wide needs, right? It's distracting us from early detection, service access, cultural responsiveness, right? All of this fear is going to lead to these things. It's going to lead to parents not wanting to go through the process of getting their child a diagnosis because of that fear. If someone who sits on a platform as big as the White House platform and spews these kind of hateful rhetoric on a community of people, I might not want my child to be associated with that community of people. And that just further leads to those gaps in diagnosis. My fear is that what we're going to see, the diagnosis gaps widen again. We were seeing improvement, but now I'm fearful that we're going to regress, right? So the CDC and medical experts have emphasized that the increase is largely due to broader screening, diagnostic change, and better access, not a true increase in autism incidence, okay? And there's a real risk political framing could undermine equity-focused research, which we're seeing, and deflect from the experiences of Black autistic children and their families. And that is, again, a scary thought. Because when we're talking about the funding realities and research consequences, it does get scary, because despite promises for more research, the dollars are telling a different story, okay? There has been autism-related research funding cuts. I mean, we're seeing funding cuts all over. So again, programs focusing on diversity are seeing those cuts. And that means that we're going to be impacted by that, because we're not going to be tailoring research on what really needs to be happening. We're wasting dollars on trying to, again, refute claims that vaccines cause autism, when again, we need to be focusing on service access, cultural responsiveness, early detection, making sure families have true support in place. But again, we're wasting those dollars. So advocacy groups are stressing the need for research driven by autistic voices. Autism in Black is doing what we need to do to make sure that we are in the research field and trying to get research done about us out there. So we're going to see. We're going to be playing a wait and see game. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll definitely be keeping our ear to the ground, so to speak, to make sure that we are keeping up with what is going on. And as soon as we find something, you'll be hearing it on the Mondays with Maria show, right? So just to wrap up about this hot topic, when you hear about autism as an epidemic or tied to toxins, I want you to pause, okay? Ask who benefits from this message, who's left unheard, and where are the resources actually going? Because remember, we only want to speak truth and facts. And if it's going to harm our community, we don't need to repeat none of these things. We want to make sure that it is backed by facts and not by individuals trying to cause some kind of fear tactic to go on, okay? So here's what matters for us. Not those sensational headlines, real access, equitable diagnosis, and funding that reflects our community's needs, okay? So with that, what is to come next with our Mondays with Maria show? Each Monday, we'll take on a different lens, right? Some episodes will be reflective. Some will be tactical and parent-focused. Some will challenge the systems we're navigating, right? So I hope you join us for next week's episode, where we're going to be talking about sensory-friendly morning routines. And I'll be sharing tips, tools, and things that we've learned and used in my own household. So as we wrap up, I want to have some closing reflections and affirmations, because if you're watching this, you're watching it for a reason. And I want to let you know you deserve a space to rest and reflect. You are not too much, you are deeply needed, and Black neurodivergent joy is revolutionary. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm excited for what we're building together. Don't forget to comment below. Tell me what topics you want to see on future episodes. And if you haven't already, subscribe, share with someone who needs it. And if you're not a member, join us inside the Autism in Black community for deeper trainings and support. Have a good day.